Welcome to the Headhunt Postgraduate Fair. Today we have with us Mr. Clement Ng, Assistant Director of Business Development and Planning from NTU's National Institute of Education. He'll be sharing with us on higher degrees, professional and leadership development. But before I hand over the time to him, just a couple of housekeeping matters to take note of. Should you have any questions, please use the Q&A function at the bottom of the screen. At the end of this session, we'll be conducting a poll quiz where you will stand a chance to win $5 capital vouchers. So without further ado, I'll now pass the time to Mr. Ng. Mr. Ng, please.
Hey, hello, thank you. Hi, everyone. I hope that all of you have been keeping yourself safe and healthy during this period of time. Before I start sharing my screen and all, normally at a physical event itself, I will ask this question: how many of you know about NIE as part of NTU, and how many of you actually know that we have other than teacher education programs? But because now we are unable to do any of such, so without further ado, I'll just share with you what we actually have prepared for everyone here. So who are we exactly? We are an institute of Nanyang Technological University, in fact. all our higher degrees program, the degrees itself would be conferred by NTU itself. So if you hear from anyone out there saying that NIE actually confer a degree on whatsoever not, this is not true, because all our degrees are conferred by the parent university, NTU. So something about NTU, we are an autonomous institute of NTU. We are ranked, the university itself is ranked 11th in the world in year 2020, and we are third in Asia. For top young universities under 50 years of age itself, since 2014, NTU has always been ranked first. In terms of subject for education under subject itself, we are ranked 16th in the world. So NIE, we actually train teachers, and that is our primary mandate, to train the teachers and educators for the Ministry of Education. So all the mainstream school teachers will have to go through a training from NIE. So our mission is really inspiring learning, transforming teaching, advancing research. And these are the core values that we hold on to when we actually do the training of the educators. But other than training the teachers itself, we are also looking into training educators from the various industries. Anyone who are doing learning and development, or anyone who are doing training or teaching someone else, even at your own work area and workplace, these are what we call educators as well. So you must be thinking, why should you join us? To be honest, I can join any other institutes, any other universities, but why NIE, NTU? For those who are into marketing, you know the 4 Ps, like product, price, promotion, placements and all. But we do have 4 Ps as well. And these 4 Ps are defined slightly differently from the context of marketing. The first P, professors. The range of professors that we have in all the various specializations, from arts and social science, humanities, the hard sciences, or even counseling, psychology, visual and performing arts, many of them, they are very knowledgeable. They are experts in their own area, to be honest. And all these professors, they are also very active in their own research, ensuring that whatever that they have, the information that they have are really evidence-based and research-based. So in terms of the peaks of excellence in programs, the next P, thinking boldly and differently. This is something that we have been featured in quite some time ago, talking about how researchers and how graduates from NIE PhD program recall how their experience enriched them in their work. And these people do not just join another education institute, but they join other organizations in other industries and sectors. So when you are talking about programs itself, this is the entire list of programs of what we have. You must be thinking, wow, NIE, under the university itself, we have so many programs. And these Masters by Coursework programs, under the list of the Master of Education, we have 16 specializations. And in Master of Arts and Master of Science, we have other areas to really cater for the professionals in the various industry. And if let's say you do not want to do a coursework program, you're thinking, I want to do research. I wanted to really go and find out and gather information, gather data. I would like to analyze those survey information that I've gathered, analyze it, try to make sense out of it. And if let's say you are someone who is really keen in doing research, you may want to consider a master's or a doctoral degree doing via the research pathway itself. So you must be thinking, so what's the difference between Master of Arts, Master of Science, Master of Education? If let's say one is to really look at it, the Master of Education is like a professional degree. It focuses on training in terms in the specialization of education itself. And the natural pathway for those who complete their Master of Education, the natural pathway, if one would like to go on to become an academia, very naturally, other than just the Doctor of Philosophy, the PhD, one would choose the Doctor in Education, what we call DFD. So going into from the full-fledged kind of Masters and Doctoral programs, I would like to share with you a new initiative, a new scheme that NTU recently, just in April itself this year, during the circuit breaker, NTU announced the Mini Masters initiative, this scheme. You must be thinking, what is a Mini Master? When you look at this screen itself, it says that participants complete 4 AU academic unit courses to qualify for a Mini Master's certificate. If let's say you are interested in a full-fledged Master's, if one does a full-fledged Master's by coursework itself, on average, the individual will have to complete 8 courses before the person can graduate, or even do 6 courses plus a dissertation, if let's say the person would like to do by a dissertation route. So the Mini Masters itself is a new initiative to allow individuals, to allow working professionals to take different standalone courses that is relevant to a particular specialization and stack towards the Mini Masters and eventually the full-fledged Masters itself. And because this is also to align ourselves with the SkillsFuture initiative, many of these courses as part of the Mini Masters are also supported by SkillsFuture Singapore. So one might be thinking, okay, if let's say I do not have the time, I would like to have a taster on how studies can be as a working professional. One course, a 4 AU, one course itself is 13 long, is semester long. So it's 13 weeks. So very often, individuals will have to come for class. If let's say you take one course, it'll be one evening per week. And you can actually have a taster on how life can be as a student once again. And because at a master's level, at a postgraduate level, the class size usually is not huge, but it will still be assured and ensured that there will be diversity in the class itself. That means, that is to say that you will have your fellow classmates from various industry and sectors so that it can actually enrich the discussion and also allow the individual to feel that, yeah, if let's say I am not from this particular industry, I will be able to hear certain insights from my fellow classmates from that industry itself. It can enhance and enrich my own knowledge and eventually allow me to think a little bit more diverse and deeper when I actually look at a particular problem. So when you look at this particular slide here, as a current, NIE offers 12 Mini Masters in the entire suite of Mini Masters of NTU. If let's say you are interested in science education or even professional training and development, especially for the L&D people, or even the instructional designers, you might want to consider e-learning instructional design. Or if let's say you would like to find out more about what curriculum and teaching is about, how forming a curriculum to really teach and enrich people, the curriculum and teaching might be of interest to you. So if let's say you are really thinking how it can actually be as a student, but if you do not wish to embark onto a full-fledged master's program yet, you might want to consider taking these standalone courses from the masters itself and stack towards it. So this is what I meant. The modular graduate courses, the individual standalone ones, when you're successful complete 4 AU courses, it will stack towards a relevant mini-masters. So you must be thinking, is that a dead end kind of qualification, or how do I progress from here? If let's say I would like to continue with a master's. So not to worry, because these courses itself is stacked towards to a mini-masters, and if you would like to enroll into a full-fledged master's program, you can transfer credits up to 12 AUs of courses, or transfer all 16 AUs, and then complete the remaining 14 AUs of courses and a compulsory 2 AU course. That itself, there is actually there is a term and condition to this. All the courses that you cleared must minimally be of a C+ grade. So this was the announcement back then on Straits Times. So other than NIE offering the mini-masters courses itself, other schools in NTU, they also do offer the mini-masters. So if you are really interested in finding out more, you can actually take a look at our website here. You can scan the QR code or even visit the website that is stated at the bottom of this slide itself. I'll pause for a while to allow yourself to scan or to take down the website. Okay, I will assume that you have already taken down, copied somewhere, or even took a picture, or even scanned it. So I will continue from here. So how life can be as a student in the institute itself? You must be thinking how life as a student in NIE is going to be like. Are we going to be just after work, go down to campus, study from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. This is the usual time slot for classes, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. But depending on some other lecturers, they may start slightly later to accommodate working professionals who may be traveling from very far from the other end of Singapore. They may start even 6:30, but they will try not to finish beyond 9:15 because it will run into very late and campus would be quite. It will still be very vibrant, but it will still be very late to be leaving NTU at that timing itself. So as a student itself, it is not just really just about studies. The institute ensure that holistic learning is ensured and provided. And the annual graduate student conference is an event organized by students for students. It is an event whereby participating students who sign up to participate, they can join to do a 3MT, the 3 minutes thesis. It is a competition whereby students, especially the research students doing their research and thesis and all, they are required to do live presentation, 3 minutes, and in layman terms, allow the audience to really understand what they are researching. So this is actually a competition of which there will be a panel of judges to judge them and all. But if let's say the students say, no, I'm not going to subject myself to this kind of stress. I don't want to do any presentation or participate in some competition, but I would still like to immerse myself in this conference. I would like to do a little bit of sharing as well. So this is what we call the poster presentation. So the student can put up and lay out whatever he or she has researched, the information of whatever that they have done, put up in a poster format. And then when visitors come by the exhibition area itself, they will be asked questions and they will be required to explain to the visitors what his or her research is all about. So this is a poster presentation, something different from the 3MT. But if let's say you would like to participate in the conference as just a conference participant, not to worry. You can actually, the student can just visit booth by booth, poster by poster, listen to the talks of the professors and all, listens to the 3MT competition. You can get a sense on how an academic conference can be. So this is something that even in the institute itself, not just getting the students to study, but we also ensure that they have certain experiences with an academic conference, and they can actually join other conferences as well. So when we talk about people, we have talked about the 2 Ps, professors, programs, and then now we are really talking about people. The conference is really about for the people, the students, and alumni. We are also using our alumni to inspire those who really wish to continue their studies. Because sometimes it is very difficult, especially at the postgrad level itself. There are many considerations that one needs to put into thinking. Other than cost, family commitment, if let's say one has a family, will have other family commitments and all, or even the time that needs to be sacrificed, and many other nots. So when an individual, even like myself, when I took up my own studies, I literally took a few years to consider before getting the final push from my fellow classmate, who is also my colleague, who said that, hey, look, Clement, I think I want to enroll into this program. The other time you also said that you wanted to. It was just based on that little encouragement to know that I may have someone else as my classmate that provided a special nudge and push. Because I had been thinking for years, okay, I have my place, the roof under my head that I need to ensure that I need to pay off, electrical bills and family commitment and all, and so many other considerations, even for work. So we need alumni and fellow classmates to really give us the encouragement. And that is the reason why people, the 3rd P, we really focus on that. So when we have alumni graduating from their programs and courses, we will try our best to ask them, would you mind or would you like to embark with us our publicity plan? And from those who agreed, like for example, Dr. Clement Ng himself, he was being featured on Straits Times 24th of August. He's also a tech entrepreneur. He focuses more on propulsion systems, space thrusters and all, and he also set up his own company. He completed his PhD, and then he's also now working as a PI, principal investigator, together with some other professors in NTU, in doing the things that he loves. So these are some people that, okay, you may think that, okay, out of 100, we might only have 1 or 2 of them, or even out of 1,000, we may have just a couple of handful of them. But the thing is, these are examples, and these are the people that very often give us that encouragement. So like another person, Soiken herself, she was featured on Straits Times as well, 7th July. She's a lecturer, an IT lecturer. She took up the Master of Arts in Professional Education, specializing in training and development, MAPE. She was the valedictorian of her cohort when she graduated that year. And because we found the learning so enriching, she was able to enact and implement the different teaching methods into her own school itself at ITU to really better the teaching for the students. She decided, okay, look, since I'm already in the academic line as a lecturer, I would want to further myself. She is now pursuing a doctorate in education, specializing in learning sciences and assessment. So these are examples. Just, you may think these are just 2. Come on, how many more do we have? Okay, I can share with you a little bit more. Sometimes even medical doctors themselves, they wanted to upgrade themselves. They are in a training capacity. And because medical doctors, they are trained in a different skill set altogether. And some of them would like to understand more about what teaching and learning is all about. Like for example, Associate Professor Clement Ng. She's an education director with Tan Tock Seng Hospital, and she took up our doctor in education. Even Chief Futurist, the Chief Research Officer from SSG, Dr. Gok Shunju here, she was also our EdD student. And you might be thinking, okay, these are very education related and all. Do you have any other examples of non-education professionals? When you look at these two alumni of ours, you can see that, yes, they are from the healthcare industry. One is an occupational therapist at KK Hospital. The other one is a radiation therapist. And both of them took up the Masters with NIE. One took up MACG itself, counseling and guidance. The other one took up a Master of Education in Special Education, because they found these programs will benefit in their areas of work. You might be thinking, what does a radiation special therapist got to do with counseling and guidance? But Keely shared with us that in her area of work, she needs to assist cancer patients in coping with emotional distress. So she found that the counseling and guidance is really a program that would allow her to learn more about how counseling can be. Even like Vimalan, he is with Minds. He took up our Master of Arts in Applied Psychology, and even Dr. Ang Hak Sing himself, the DS Deputy Secretary of MCCY, graduated with our PhD. And you must be thinking, okay, fair enough, these are the professionals away from the education industries and all. Then how about your own teachers that you have trained? They come back to us as well. So they find professional development important in their areas of work. And that's the reason why they took up their own postgraduate studies, to better themselves, to allow themselves to be enriched deeper. And okay, it's like people then program. Now you must be thinking, okay, we have the Graduate Student Conference allowing the students to immerse themselves in a conference setting. But as a student within the institute itself, we don't forget about every one of them. If, let's say, one has difficulties in any of their research or academic skills, work, writing, statistical analysis, and others not, the GRAD Center, the Graduate Research and Academic Development Center, was set up in January 2017 to help these students. So we do not leave anyone behind. We don't leave anyone behind. We have to ensure that our students, while learning with NIE, are all well taken care of. And then when you talk about certification programs and all, mini masters, advanced diploma, advanced postgraduate diplomas, these are all the professional development kind of short courses. So the philosophical context of what we really do, the tagline of our office, the Office of Graduate Studies and Professional Learning, learning differently, leading change. We want everyone to be able to come to us, to come to NIE, to not just focus on education itself, but also to focus on other specialization that we have. So I give you another example. These are all the SSG approved courses, the short courses, the professional PD kind of short courses. Just now I have shared with you the higher degrees, the semester long kind. Now I'm sharing with you what we have as well for working professionals for professional development, 2 days, 3 days, perhaps at most a week kind. So these are some of the things that you may be interested in. You can visit our website to find out more, because these are just some examples that I can actually share with everyone. So this is a place. If let's say you would like to find out more about our PD courses, we call it PLACE. It's the Professional Learning and Continuing Education. This is the place that you can look to learn at your own pace as well. So I have kind of like come to the end of my sharing. Let me see what other questions do we have under the Q&A. Okay, may I know what is the difference between the Masters in Counseling and Guidance program in NIE and the Master of Counseling program in SUSS? To be honest, you might want to look into the program structure itself, because the programs largely might be similar, but at least I can share with you confidently that the MACG program in NIE is registered with the Singapore Association for Counseling, SAC. And for my PhD program, what are the areas of research that faculty members? Okay, Junlin side. Okay, I can actually share with you. You can look into. I'm not sure. Can everyone see? So I've just sent you the website that you can actually take a look at what are the research areas. Okay, Marie, the differences between the MACG itself and the MAAP counseling. Okay, the main difference when you ask yourself these two different professions, one is counseling as a counselor, the other one is working as a psychologist. So usually a counseling psychologist, they tend to use different diagnostic tools and they do assessment on the individuals and all. These are areas and tools that a counselor tend to focus less on. And counseling psychology grads, there are many, to be honest. If let's say possible, you can actually look under the website of the Singapore Psychological Association or Society. They actually have a list of websites to point people to explore the various options for a career. May I know if I'm able to apply for the Masters in Special Education if I have a private arts degree? Okay, the entry requirement of most of the programs itself will require the individual to have at least a bachelor degree from a recognized university. And very often the Master of Education itself, they have special requirements like at least X number of years of working experience, relevant work experience, or even have experience in that particular specialization and field as well. Okay, you're in the field of nursing, Sivaniswari. Hi, you're intending to work on team-based learning pedagogy. Okay, perhaps you can we can chat further later if you're able to. You can drop us a note on the website. We can engage you further on that. Okay, what are the course fees for the Master of Arts and the Mini Masters? Okay, usually a full-fledged master program itself, right, is in the range of 30,000. The only subsidized program will be subsidized by the Singapore government itself would be the Master of Education. So a full-fledged master's usually will be on average 30,000, and course fees for mini masters itself, because they are stand-alone courses. So a 4 AU course is in the range of 4,000 plus. 1 AU is 1,000 plus. So in terms of the fees itself, these details can actually be obtained from our website. Okay, for mini masters, do I have to have a bachelor's honors before you can apply? To qualify for the courses for the mini masters, these courses, they follow the entry requirement of the full-fledged master's program. So you will have to ensure that you meet the minimal entry requirement for it. Then Are there any financial assistance? Okay, the financial assistance portion, other than the scholarships and sponsorship program, currently for postgraduate degree, that it will be very much dependent on the individual, him or herself. In fact, okay, in Samantha, MAPE, assignment-based, most of our master's program, they are on assignments. They are on assignment-based format. Very, very few of them will be on examination mode. Okay, fees and all, I think I have kind of like replied just now. You can actually type in the fees portion. Are the EdD and PhD both full-time classes? Okay, for both doctoral programs itself, right? The individual can choose either full-time or part-time. So it all depends on the individual. But for a PhD program itself, the university has a requirement. It will be minimum and maximum 5 years. Can we use our CPF to pay for fees? Unfortunately not. So okay, for any fee subsidies given to Singaporean for MEd, okay, like what I shared earlier, so long the only subsidized master's program would be the Master of Education, and is a heavily subsidized program if the individual is a Singaporean and is doing his or her first postgraduate degree with a local autonomous university. Okay, just to clarify, all our master's graduates do not automatically get a teaching certificate. If you would like to join the teaching profession as a mainstream school teacher, all applications will need to go through the Ministry of Education. But that doesn't mean that after getting a postgraduate degree itself, one cannot go to polys, ITEs, international schools and all to become a lecturer. So just bear in mind, in the event, if let's say you are interested in being a mainstream school teacher in Singapore, primary, secondary, and JC, all applications will need to go through the Ministry of Education. Are there any online master's program? Currently, no full-fledged online masters, but some of the courses for the master, for the postgraduate degree itself, they will be on blended mode. That is to say that some online learning component, e-learning component, will be factored into the course itself. For MEd program, what is the minimum GPA? Usually we will share with people, try to get as high as you can, because application to all programs are on competitive basis. So it will be very much up to the individual. If let's say you have good scores for the qualifying examinations and all itself, we will require that you will be as high as possible. Are we able to see the modules? Yes, sorry, just because before I go on, I think Junlin raised your hand. How can I help? How do I go to this portion here? Okay, I can't find how you can actually respond to you, Junlin. Okay, Cheryl, for the modules of each mini masters, do go to our webpage, just now this particular one. This one, you can actually see the details of each course required for the mini masters. Okay, what is the difference between the AP and CG? One is really focusing on psychology. The other one is really training to be a counselor, to be honest. So it actually has different calling for the programs for the individual. If let's say you are very geared towards being a counselor in the social service sector, the counseling course would be the more ideal one for you. Okay, fees for MAEM. This is a non-subsidized program. This is the one that I'm taking. So the fees itself is in the range of about 35,000. The intake size for both counseling and applied psych, usually we try to not go beyond 25 per class. For all our programs, this would be the case. Private tuition experience, yes and no, in a sense. It all depends on how extensive your experience can be. Fauzi, perhaps you can actually drop us a note on the website. We can see how we can engage you better. Okay, Jolene, yes. If you're interested in the PhD program, you would have to find out more about the faculty. Yes. Okay, if you want to apply for a doctoral, you will need to have your research abstract written. And then after that, go through the website of the various academic groups itself to find the potential supervisor, contact the supervisor with your research abstract. In the event, if let's say you are able to find a faculty member who shares similar research interests with your intended research, speak with the faculty member, and if let's say he or her is agreeable to take you in as a student, as a PhD student, together with the email, confirmation and all, send it in together with the application. You are keen to enroll. Okay, all applications to our programs are done online. So you will have to go to our webpage to do the application. The minimum CGPA for your master. Okay, to complete the the masters itself, right? The students need to ensure minimum 3.5. Is an SUSS degree recognized? Yes, it is also another autonomous university in Singapore. Okay, is working experience a must as an entry requirement? Unfortunately, we have to say yes, because at the master's level itself, they are all catered for working professionals in that sense, unless the individual and the undergraduate portion clears the undergraduate bachelor's with first class honors and would like to continue directly with a PhD application. That is possible. So if not, as a working adult, we will have to provide our working experience, and which will also constitute as part of the entry requirement to the program. There are no foundation courses for any of the masters. Okay, for the mini masters itself, right, the courses, most of the courses are actually supported by SSG. So Singaporeans will enjoy a 70% subsidies. And for mid-career and under the enhanced mid-career ones, for people like myself, above 40, if let's say I take the course for the mini masters itself, I get to enjoy the 90% subsidy. For PhD programs, academic referees are required. And in the event, if you are unable to find the academic referee because your previous professors from your previous university has already retired, went off to some other places, you can't find them anymore, drop our admissions office a note and request that would a professional referee be viable as well. Okay, for overseas students, yes, TOEFL and IELTS is required. If let's say you are an international student. So details and all are actually can be found on our site. And scholarship to provide to foreigner students. Okay, scholarships have always been very competitive. So it is open to everyone who applies for it. So it is really based on competitiveness. Okay, enrollment itself, we have 2 intakes per year, January and August. So in the event, if let's say you go for the January intake, it will start in January and then it will last for 13 weeks, all the way to sometime in April, sometime near end April. And then if let's say you are on the August intake, classes will start in August and it will stop sometime late November, thereabouts. Career prospects, it all depends on the individual, to be honest. you have to see which industry you're from. And then if let's say you're taking this as your own personal professional development, the postgraduate, you will have to measure out and weigh out what is the area of learning that you're keen that will benefit your own career progression. So in terms of career prospects, honestly, it is pretty diverse. Many of our graduates they found jobs in various industries and sectors. Well, prior experience in education research, Eureka. Oh, okay. Okay, because PhD itself is largely on research, and it is not just, how do I say, it can contribute to some experience, but because at the PhD level, there will be interviews by the faculty panels to gauge the applicants. So it is really up to the individual how well your application can be and how are you able to pitch your research abstract to the potential supervisor. What would be a regionally recognized university be?
Hi, sorry, we'll have to have this as the last Q&A section before we wrap up.
Yeah, so perhaps I can just go through a few more. Will it be in time?
Okay, in the meantime, we will be running the poll quiz. So it will show up on the screen and you can answer a few questions.
Okay, so originally kind of recognized university, but I don't really quite understand this question, but NTU, NUS, SMU, they are regionally recognized. In fact, universities in Singapore are regionally recognized. It's only quite a matter of the ranking itself. Okay, Faith, is 2-year experience in relevant fields mandatory? Yes, unfortunately it is. Because the lecturers have to ensure that the students bring along with them the relevant experience so that they can understand better the courses when it's been so-called done.
Okay, great. Sorry to cut you off, Mr.
No
we've come now to the end of this session. Thank you everyone for joining us today, and we hope you've enjoyed and benefited from this session. We still have some sessions for the rest of the day, so do come in and join us for them as well. So thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you.